Hey, thanks, Rachel. Let's discuss further about how we can elevate our DevOps skill sets to become a career in the field. DevOps is one of the fastest growing careers in the US. We have over 596,000 job postings in the last 12 months alone. We also have a 10-year growth forecast of up to 39% and a median salary of $102,000. With all three of these statistics combined, that's a great outlook for becoming a DevOps professional today. Some common job titles include DevOps Engineer, Cloud DevOps Engineer, DevOps Automation Engineer, and AWS DevOps Engineer. The common theme here is engineering. Whether you specialize in cloud, other specializations in programming, such as C or Python, regardless, you'll be developing and automating solutions for your employer. Now, these are just some of the job titles that we've pulled from the top listings. There are many other job opportunities and titles available to you, and that varies depending on what your position will be. So, what will you do in your day to day skill sets in that position? Well, you'll build and deploy next generation solutions, including microservices and serverless compute. Now, wait a minute here. There are servers involved, but you won't be administrating them. Serverless compute just simply means you're focused around your solution, your programming, your automation, so that you're focused around the value add on business solution alignment. You provide continuous improvement through infrastructure as code, using releases and automation DevOps tools to help you conduct those releases. Also, part of your DevOps skill sets, you also monitor, tune, and secure solutions with near real-time accuracy. And you'll utilize automated response techniques to help improve that solution and fix problems as they occur. So let's discuss how we'll get you there. We'll have 26 weeks together. Our bootcamp has an offering that is partnered with AWS Academy. We'll have a technique of traditional learning as well as hands-on blended style lab training as well as other hands-on techniques throughout your courseware. It's designed for students to be highly technical and focused around Amazon Web Services. You'll build and develop solutions in here, and we'll show you the different use cases on how you can become proficient at AWS. Speaking of proficiency, the curriculum is also designed to get you up to 3 certifications throughout your time here. You don't have to take these certifications, but we highly suggest you do because these are highly involved, highly demanded, and help you at a state the skill sets that you learned today among AWS architecture, cloud, DevOps, and ultimately administration here. What does our classes look like in our 26 weeks together? You'll spend 2 evenings on weeknights per week. It'll either be Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. your local time. You'll have Saturday mornings either 9 to 1 or the afternoons 1:30 to 5:30 p.m. Again, your local time and also depending on your cohort. In our classroom, we have roughly 10 hours per week together. This includes lecture, breakout sessions, hands-on labs, and assessments. And while there's very little homework and it's designed for working class professionals, be ready, be hands-on in the class, and be highly engaged. Again, the key note here is that we're highly motivated and hands-on with this material. We want you to be really masterful at the skill sets to be a fully competent DevOps working with AWS. So who's with you on this journey with us on 26 weeks of bootcamp? Well, we have experienced instructors who are passionate about DevOps engineering. We love to teach. There's a culture of collaboration, work, and other motivational factors that we want to help make and create in this environment. We want students to have a safe space to learn, to also fail and recover quickly, and also experiment with their learning, spread their ideas around, and so that we can all learn from each other. So, what does our 26 weeks look like? Well, we'll start off with foundations for our first 10 weeks. Foundations also include a core competency of a mixture of different skill sets. These skill sets include Linux, where we'll learn about the operating system itself, the architecture around different kernels, different file hierarchies, and how to really administrate, which is really the base foundations and the commands that you need as a DevOps today. You also have networking. In the next 2 weeks, we'll have foundations where we talk about how does packets get to point A and point B? How does your data read from the wire? And what do we need to learn about and think about as we troubleshoot our solutions ultimately on the backbone of the network itself? In our next 2 weeks, we'll also learn Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Service Foundations is focused around the accounting, the best practices, and other architecture around AWS at a fundamental level to get you a good feeling on how to utilize the services and what services are out there to create your solution ultimately to date for DevOps. Speaking of DevOps, we'll make sure that you learn Python. Now, you might have other programming language backgrounds, or you could be a beginner. Don't worry, this course is beginner friendly. Python is a great all around programming language for many use cases, regardless if you're on premise, in the cloud, and it's really there and utilized quite a bit in the Amazon Web Services space. We'll learn about control flows, we'll learn about manipulation of data, and really prepare you with the skill sets to create serverless compute or containers inside your cloud native environment. In our last 9 and 10 weeks in Foundations, we'll have Enterprise DevOps. This is where you'll learn immersion of the culture, the collaboration, the tool sets that we need to automate deploying, and we'll really get around what is continuous improvement and continuous development and deployment around those pipelines. In our latter portion of the 26 weeks, we'll have 3 different AWS Academy partner courseware: cloud architecture, cloud development, and cloud operations. We want you to be able to design and blueprint solutions in Amazon Web Services using the best practice possible. You'll create patterns, documentation, and you'll learn what it takes to deploy those solutions in an environment such as Amazon Web Services. Following the architecture courseware, you also build and deploy the actual design and architecture that you created in the architecture problems. You deploy using your CI/CD pipelines that you architected and designed using our supporting tools. You'll build your solutions, you'll tune and optimize whenever you can. You'll troubleshoot along the way if something doesn't work. That's the whole point of your development experience. And last but not least, in the AWS Academy courseware, you'll also learn the administration techniques, different configurations, and different ways to automate your time as infrastructure as code in the cloud with Amazon Web Services. You'll integrate and configure different security requirements for either compliance reasons, regulations, or even just trying to optimize your existing workloads. That's what you'll learn here in the operations side of it. No course is complete without a capstone project. We start you off a little bit earlier in the courseware. At week 15, that's when we start thinking about our capstone. Ultimately, your capstone has goals of making sure that you have hands-on planning, designing, and actually building your solutions from the ground up. You'll leverage the standard tools and the development standard requirements such as Agile to really make sure that you have things on time. What does your capstone project really look like? Well, ultimately, to a student, that depends on you. However, here are some example use cases that you might make for your capstone project. One might be an API focused around cybersecurity threat intelligence. You could enrich IP addresses correlated with additional information around malicious actors, threats, state actors, and other intelligence to really help other cybersecurity professionals grapple with day-to-day operational needs from a security perspective. Another solution might be in your capstone project, could be a completely solution around AI, machine learning, and really capturing images from perhaps a upload repository, automating filtering, automation of identification of objects, and providing that output back to the user seamlessly using serverless compute technology. That's just a couple of different use cases that you can make for your capstone. Ultimately, you want to be hands-on. You want to make sure that your capstone project is as best as it can be and as wild and imaginative as possible. And you want to make sure that you have ultimately a capstone project that's enterprise ready. This capstone project is also a portfolio for you to take with you in interviews. When asked, how can you prove that you have these skill sets? You have your capstone project to actually showcase that. Now, besides the capstone project, you also want to utilize hard skills and be able to showcase this accordingly. We have our top 10 hard skills according to the 2021 MC dataset. DevOps, automation, Amazon Web Services, also known as AWS, Python, Linux, Docker, which is part of containers, Jenkins, which is a CI/CD pipeline related tool, Kubernetes, which is a way to help configure and orchestrate your containers, Ansible, and scripting are ways you can also create automation around configuration management. Now, don't worry if you don't understand or have never seen these tool sets. We'll cover most, if not all of these, throughout our 26 weeks together. Now, in addition to our bootcamp, in addition to a certificate that you'll receive upon completion of all requirements of this project, you'll also have the opportunity to take 3 certifications: the Solutions Architect Associate, Developer Associate, and the SysOps Administrator Associate. All 3 of these, while optional, you can take these at the end of each of the AWS Academy courseware and get that certificate and get that certification to really make you prepared for the time after our 26 weeks together. Again, these are highly sought after certifications. And how do I know? Well, I used to work for AWS as a cloud security consultant focused around DevSecOps. All 3 of these certifications are something that you really want to have when you exit this course. Now, don't worry if you don't want to get them, that's okay too. But remember, credentials are really in high demand, and getting these won't hurt you one bit. Now, to help you with your career step further, I'll hand you back to Rachel so she can discuss with you further on what to do with our DevOps Bootcamp credentials.